Today on Just Saying, I'm joined by Kerry Blaser, a mother, shaman, author of My Inner Heroine, Exploring Feminine Pain. In this episode, we'll explore how shamanism and psychology align, how to break free from the cycles of trauma, and how to find light even in the darkest seasons of life. If you've ever felt stuck, lost, or even ready for a change, this conversation will give you hope, clarity, and the tools to begin your own healing journey. Hey friends, what if your darkest pain could lead you to your greatest awakening? My guest is a mother, author, and shaman with on a powerful healing journey. Welcome, Kerry Blaser.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to share my story and my book and everything.
Well, it's awesome to have you. Okay, so before we pivot to the events that took you on this journey and your path as a shaman and ultimately leading to your current path, let's rewind and go back a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your story so we can get a gist of get a gist of your story so we could get some backstory here.
Sure. Along with my cat, who is going to spill the water.
We love kittens and dogs.
So,
I have French bulldogs, and
so
so
you know.
my French bulldogs will sometimes jump in my lap, and I'm like, whoa, I'm recording here,
Okay.
buddy.
All right. So I was born in Arizona, in Scottsdale, Arizona. And before I turned 1, my dad was an engineer and we moved to France and Switzerland so he could work there in the early 70s. And then when I was 5, we moved to Southern California and to a very affluent town that's
Where in Southern California?
I don't give out the city.
Oh, you don't get okay. I'm sorry.
I
All
don't
right.
because there's like people in the book and I give out details about
I
them, and so
get
then
it.
I don't
I
give out
get
the
it.
city.
I'm here, you
But I
sister. I
will
got it.
tell what,
I'm just
excellent
because I
question.
was only asking only because I've also lived all over California, so I just
Mm,
thought maybe we cross paths. No, I'm just teasing. Okay.
we could have, because like the town is a very affluent town. It's about 15 minutes on a windy road
Uh-huh.
from the Bachelor Mansion. So it's like a
Oh,
mile or 2 from the Bachelor Mansion that, brings you pretty
yeah.
close, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give out the actual city because of
It's
the
all
men in the
good,
book.
girl. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So I moved there when I was 5, and then my parents got a divorce when I was 6. My mom I have an older brother, he's a year and a half older, and my brother and I don't talk today, like, we fought our whole life.
Same here.
Um,
My brother, year and a half older, same thing.
yeah,
Crazy.
and, my mom was an alcoholic and my dad was a workaholic. They both had traumatic, childhoods as well. My dad's parents in the 50s got a divorce, even though my grandpa was like affluent and did really well. And then my grandma went out and got pregnant by another man's child. And so she came back and they got remarried. So my dad has 2 brothers that are his full brothers, and then 1 half brother. Um, and then
It
my
was like
mom,
scandalous back in the 50s, right? That's like,
that's a big deal. I mean, people like divorced in the 50s, and my grandpa had a lot of money.
yeah,
Tells you how bad it was. Okay.
right.
My mom, she got engaged 4 times in the 60s. And my dad is 4 years younger than my mom.
Right on,
So all of this kind of
girl.
like, it paints a picture, it paints a picture. And so when I say I was raised in a very affluent town and I was raised in an apartment and my parents would argue over money. So my dad, who was supposed to have us 50% of the time, but he only had us every other
Mm,
weekend, would argue with my mom about paying child support. And he was making 6 figures then. Like, we were as an affluent town, right?
right.
Um, and so I internalized that I don't deserve for a man to provide for me. Now I talked to my brother about that. He's like, "Oh, I just thought they were stupid." I'm right, because you're a boy. You're gonna make your own money. But I'm
Yeah,
a girl and men provide and protect.
right,
Women connect people to their soul. Women do the inside, men do the
right.
outside, in
My
general.
dad also too. I mean, I don't mean to interrupt, and I
No,
won't
keep
take you
going. Yeah.
off topic, but like my dad also, my mom and dad stayed married until he died. I mean, they were almost 47 years married, but then they also, were married in the early 60s,
Mhm.
and they both one went to boys school, one went to girls school, Catholic school. They were
Mhm.
like, it was all
Yeah.
very proper,
Yeah.
but so my dad was very square, but and He worked 7 days a week and he traveled 45 minutes to work there and 45 minutes back. And he actually was not a very good dad to he was a great dad, but he wasn't a very good husband to my mom.
Mm, mm,
But my mom was not raised, she had 4 kids and she wasn't working because she
mm,
had a ski
yeah.
injury. So she,
Mm,
it was like she didn't want to leave him because she had 4 kids and she knew he wouldn't give us any money. And so how is she going to raise her 4 children? And so she was stuck in a marriage she probably did not want to be in. And but she did it for her kids,
right.
and he wasn't a terrible father. I mean, he provided and he raised 4 great kids. I mean, all of us turned out pretty darn good.
Yeah.
But that was basically, like you said, the nurturing. That was my mom's doing. But my dad was the guy with all the money. So back then it was not easy for women to stand their ground and leave. And
Right.
also, like you said, women relied on the husband's income. And honestly, women aren't still to this day paid as a man is paid, just so we know. They're like 70% to their 100%. Women are not paid equally, which I learned this in college, let's just say.
Do you
That's
want
how
me
I
to give you
know.
the real stats on that? Because that's not accurate.
I think it's accurate. I
Do
believe
it.
it's accurate. I just got my MBA and I just went to school and they were giving me statistics, but maybe it's not accurate to this day, but I'm just saying women don't make the same as men make on
But
the same job.
there's tons of research now that women in the cities actually make more than men, and the reason that women don't make as much is for a multitude of reasons, like women
I
leave the workforce to have kids. There's a
Right,
lot,
right,
so let me
right.
just list
And
them
they
out.
need to leave to go take care of,
Right.
their kid's runny nose at school or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of reasons why women are pulled away from their position, makes them less desirable as a hire. I mean, I get that for sure.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but if businesses could pay 30% less to employees, then why wouldn't they do that? But there's like a lot
Mm,
of reasons about the jobs that men are attracted to. Men are attracted
right,
to science and things which pays more than
right.
people like teaching and nursing,
Yeah,
you know?
you have less males in like or not tech support, but like in
Right.
supporting roles like secretary or assistants and
Right.
other thing like that. So I know that it is, and I do understand all that you're saying because
Yeah.
I did learn I did learn about all that. There are variables, but I was just saying
Yeah.
overall, and it was the case during my mom's time too, where
Mm,
she wouldn't be paid the same amount as my father at the same position that my dad was making back in the 80s
mm,
or whatever.
mm.
But I took you off I
That's
digressed
okay.
to a whole nother direction. So you were talking about your
Yeah.
affluent family and your dad had just, your dad or your step, no, your dad is like, you said 9 years or 6 years younger than mom.
4 years
Four
younger.
years, 4 years. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah.
I was like talking about my own life because I'm actually younger than my husband, but I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, okay. And there were a lot of, arguments, mom, my dad, and my dad and me. It's just a lot of arguing. So when I went to high school, in my book, I talk about the men in my book and I call them my heroes because they helped me resolve my childhood trauma, which I'll get into in a minute. But my original hero, who I call Jared in the book, I met him in high school,
Hmm.
and he was ASB president. 2 years older than me, like super good looking, over 6 feet tall, dapper sense of style, hair always done, like varsity Letterman, super
Right. After
smart.
school
Went on to get
special
an
dreamboat, right?
MBA. What?
After school special dreamboat.
Yeah, I mean, on the outside,
Right.
okay? But here's something about healing that I had to learn is that, um, when we attract people into our lives for a romantic relationship, our wounds are equally deep, and we attract people into our lives based upon our wounds, so we have room to grow, okay? Now, I didn't know this when I was 14 and he was 16, but this scenario between me and him kinda sets up how I am and the men that I attracted in my life to heal from my childhood trauma.
Are you saying like the men that we are attracted to are like the men that we were raised with, like our father or uncles or grandpas or whatever? Like, cause like I did marry someone like my dad, like
Yeah.
a workaholic,
Yep.
very quiet,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
opinionated.
Yeah.
I love my husband. No, I don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. My
Yeah.
husband is actually a 10 times better of a man than my father was.
Mm.
But and a better father but
Mm.
I'm just saying that like I did go for that personality. like my
Yeah.
mom did. Yeah, my
We
husband
go.
doesn't treat me like my dad treated my mother, though, by the way. He's very good to me. My husband is
I'm
great.
so
I'm
glad to
just saying,
hear
honey, I
that.
love you if you're listening. No, I'm just teasing.
Yay! I always want to say, honey, I love you. I love it. I love it. I
He'll
love it.
probably never
Okay.
listen, but anyways.
That's okay. You can send him the clip. Okay.
All right.
I got it on recording. Okay.
Yeah.
You're part of my podcast. Yay.
Right.
But what was I saying? But this kind of the scenes between me and Jared kind of show me myself at that time, and he kept wanting to talk to me. Okay. And I was the rock
Mm.
and he kept moving. Should not talk to me. Well, when a woman, masculinity is the rock, femininity is the water. So when a woman has trauma and she's not healed, she's in her masculine. She gets controlling and bossy and argumentative, and she doesn't process her emotions. She represses her emotions and she takes it out on everybody.
That's me in a nutshell. Oh my gosh. I'm in a nutshell. Help me get out. I'm in a nutshell. That's
Well, you
me.
were the right person. I can help you get out.
Okay.
So that's the woman. Okay. So I repress everything and I'm just in my rock protecting myself because my home life is crap. And, I already had a job at 12 and now I'm 14, about to get my next job and arguing with my dad, and my mom's an alcoholic. So at home, I had to protect myself. I couldn't go to school and go, oh, I'm this nice feminine flower. Like, I had no idea how to be a feminine woman. And he came from, I know, a conservative household. So, of course, is it a school of 2,000 kids, and he's with all the popular people, and I was, didn't have many friends and was like, felt like I'm the problem and rejected myself and didn't feel pretty, even though I was pretty. Like, I didn't feel pretty.
Isn't that true? Like, I wish I was the same size I was in high school. I thought I was a big fatty, and man, I was like a size 3. Like, come on now. Anyways, I'm
But
sorry.
that's all self-perception. That's a self-judgment that we can talk about later. So anyway, he kept trying to talk to me and I wouldn't give him an opening. Now, in a healthy scenario, the woman drops her handkerchief, submits, and then the man decides what to do. That's healthy, feminine, masculine. She's in her flow. Oh, little coy with her heart. Be direct with the mind, coy with the heart, right? That's
Right.
dropping the handkerchief. Well, he kept dropping his handkerchief and I'm like, no, 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 no. That's how messed up we were. But yet, he went to, a military academy, got an MBA. So, he was very Boy Scout, varsity letterman, had lots of success. But when it came to his heart, now what? Right. So one day, the most popular senior, because they were on the water polo team together, water polo players. It's like, it's player, water polo players is player central, kid you not. Okay. I've experienced it time and time and time again. So anyway, the most popular senior and him come up to me. And those popular seniors like, I want to introduce you to Jared. He's really nice. And I look at him and I'm like, are you punking me? Where's the camera? Like, don't ever talk to me again. And I just left. Wall of fear. No. Because what would happen in a scenario where all my emotions are repressed? He comes around me and all my fears come out. I have no emotional control with my mouth. When men lose emotional control, it usually comes out of their bodies. Their
Right.
arms.
I vomit my words a lot too. Like, I just spit.
you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a dangerous scenario. And he's like a, league champion in wrestling. Like, it was a dangerous scenario for me because it was so intense between us, just intense. So I walk away and then, within like a week or two later, he was having a picnic with another freshman. Like, she brought him a picnic. Like, that's claiming a man. I'm like, oh, you're so into me that the most popular senior's got to get involved, and you're ASB president, but then you're so not into me that you're with somebody else. But why did that happen in my life? Which is something I'll talk about, through the podcast, is we all have souls or energy bodies. That physicists have proven we all have energy bodies or souls. And our souls plan our lives based upon our wounds. So we have opportunities for growth. So what wound was my soul showing me by seeing him at school with another woman? I had a wound that I'm replaceable, which I think a lot of women have.
Or like, I'm not as important as maybe I thought I might have was, or.
Right. And so how does your soul show you that? And then there's another, like, more physics. I'll get that in a minute, but the universe is a mirror. I'll get into that wisdom too. But that was a scenario where the universe is a mirror showing me a wound and I had no idea what it was showing. Things settled down and, other things happened, but I could never be with him. And then he went away and then I was, 16 and I got a job. Oh, right after that, the picnic. Oh, I went and got a job. I'm like, "Oh, F? No. You're gonna get the most popular senior, and then you're gonna have a picnic and let a bitch claim you? And
Right.
then, oh, I'm out. I was out. Okay, done. There's Carrie, and I had to buy my car, and I had to save money. So that was like my, high school, and I met Jared, and I haven't seen Jared in 40 years, but he's in the book. So then I
Can I
went to
interject for
college.
just 1 second? This is the
Yeah,
advice I tell my friend all the time. I talk to him
yeah,
and, I tell him, I'm like, whenever you have, because he's having some love issues or
mhm,
whatever. And I tell him, I go, because you're breaking up with this guy, and I said, you're breaking up with him. So start working on yourself.
yeah,
And I go, start getting a second job, or putting your finances together, get a different car, do whatever it
yeah,
is. And that's what kind of like what you said. You're like me in a way. I feel as though when something brings you down, and you're like, and you're mentally down, and you're just physically, all the things, when you're down, you're totally at
yeah,
the bottom. The only way you're going to be able to get back up to the top again is if you dig yourself out. And that is by working on yourself.
yes,
And so that is what I tell him. I go, you need to drop his ass. And I said, start working on yourself. And pretty soon you'll forget about all of the things that you were thinking about that were bringing you down about this guy. And you'll start to feel better, and you'll be in a better place. Obviously, you'll be back at the top, right?
yeah.
You'll be back at the top, and then you'll have a better view at the top, and you can start making different choices, and you won't pick the same kind of guy that brought you down. You'll pick a better choice. Anyways, I digressed again, but
No, it's
anyways,
perfect because now I can get right into that. That sets me up to talk about the laws of physics.
okay.
Okay. That's perfect. Okay. So we all have souls. Like I'm a shaman, right? And so what is a shaman? A shaman is, I'm a very simple definition is
Okay.
I help people transform self-hate to self-love. I help them transform their emotional wounds
Okay, so
into
wait,
personal
let's
wisdom.
back up. I like I
Yeah.
like that. I like your definition. I'm going to give for those because I didn't know.
Okay.
I was raised Catholic, and I am now a Christian. Kind of will always be Catholic I always have that Catholic guilt in my religion of life, but
Yeah.
I believe I'm a Christian. But so I was looking this up because I thought, well, I'll have Christian listeners, and they want to know what a shaman is or what the difference is and how does it
Mhm.
conflict with their religion. Not really. In fact, there are some similarities in the fact of shamanism and Christianity. But I
Oh,
looked up. Okay, so shamanism diversity. It says shamanism is a single unified religion, but a broad set of spiritual practices found in diverse cultures
yeah.
worldwide. And then it says focuses on the shamanim. I can't even say the dang word. Sh-
Shamanic.
Shamanic.
Shamanic. Uh-huh.
Ding ding. Experience.
Yeah.
Shamans often emphasize personal experiences and connection with the spirit world rather than a dogma or like scripture, like what like we have the gospel and so while Christianity and some shamanic traditions are kind of the same in some ways, they have some, like for example, Christianity understands heaven and hell, while the
Right.
role of angels and demons, while and it may not align with yours, but you believe in like upper and lower worlds, right, or something like that,
So I
or
can't
like
there's so many different kinds of shamans,
okay.
okay? That's why it's like it's a medicine person. Like if we like cancer is self-hate, and they've done numerous research on it showing that when someone doesn't take care of themselves properly, they fawn, they people please, they control, they focus outside of themselves and they don't care for themselves. That's when we develop things like cancer and viruses and illnesses because the
Right.
body is showing us our soul. So I'm going to get in. So let
Okay.
me just talk for a few minutes because I'm going to get into all like the laws of physics. Yeah, cool. But this is like perfect. It's perfect,
I'll,
perfect. Okay.
I'll
So
hi. Okay, I'll keep it shut because I
no,
have a hard time with that, but I will.
that's it. Okay. No one's perfect.
I know.
I'm not perfect
Well,
either. Okay. So the first thing is that we all have souls or energy bodies. So what does that mean though? Okay. So we all have souls or energy bodies and we're all connected through our heart space. So our souls push energy out through our heart physically because it's an energy body. And our heart's nervous system is way more complex than the brain. So then the heart sends a lot more signals in the brain and the other way around. Like the electromagnetic field around the heart is 5,000 times stronger than our brains. Just to
interesting.
like, yeah. Okay. And our souls communicate through emotions. And emotions vibrate at different frequencies. Like shame vibrates at 20 frequency, anger about 80, love about 200, passion about 400, and enlightenment, which is also an emotion, an expression of the soul, at about 700 to 1,000.
Okay, so can that translate into how the body is reacting in the feeling? Like, is it a heated kind of thing? And because I know when I get excited or I'm anxious, I get warm, like I get hot.
Yeah, well, just you're channeling a lot of energy. Like me too. Like
Yeah.
when I talk a lot or I channel a lot, I sweat because I'm channeling. It's just having a lot of energy. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was just
It,
wondering if that can translate to, because your numbers, I was just wondering if that
mm.
translated into like an actual feeling in the body. Does that make
Well,
sense?
I mean, how does shame feel? I mean, shame, guilt, fear. It's
Like
those
it,
lower vibrating, denser, darker,
yeah,
slower moving emotions. Where
yeah,
joy and happiness. Now
yeah. Endorphin.
the higher an energy vibrates, the faster it vibrates, and the stronger the hurts, the higher the hurts, the more powerful and transformative the energy. So we have love at 200 hertz and fear at like 70 hertz. Long term, love will always win.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen that
Good thought.
video? Yeah, like there's this one. I love this video. There's a video of this little kitten who's been traumatized, and it's in a little heater, and then it's like hissing, 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 and you see the foster mama cat slowly oh, slow, and then she slowly lays down, hissing, 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 and
Aw,
slowly the cat calms because the love in the mama cat is far more powerful and transformative than the fear in the kitten. Does that make
yeah.
sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's calming. It's calmed her down. It was
Yeah, it's a more power, and I have a physics experiment for that. So there's like they have 5 metrodones, and 2 are moving super fast, the most powerful, and 3 are kind of slow. Within a minute, all of them are moving super fast
is a metrodome the
because
thing that's on the piano?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry. I
So
had to ask because I didn't know.
no, I love
Sorry.
it. I love it. No, metronome, yeah, on the piano, and
Fun.
so
Okay.
the faster, more powerful the energy, the more we transform, and the more other energies align. So, like
Okay.
last year, I experienced enlightenment like 10 times. That helps everybody because all of our souls are connected to the heart space. And when my energy, I'm that strong metrodome, and everybody else is slowly but surely going to align up here with me.
Can I ask you a
And
question?
that's how I help everybody.
What about that ayahuasca stuff?
We'll get to that in a second. Table that. That's good. I
Okay.
medicine journeys. I've done medicine journeys. We should talk about it, but I haven't done ayahuasca. Okay. So
Okay.
so anyway, that's what it is. Like the higher vibrating the energy, the more transformative it is. That's why love will always win in the long run. Hedonistic societies always fail because that's fear and greed and lust and hate and shame. And that will always eventually go out of alignment, with the universe, with what
Right.
we're doing. And so anyway, but change is an inside job. And this is what it's telling you. Okay, so our energy bodies vibrate our emotions different frequencies, and we communicate through our heart space. So what happens is I project my heart onto other souls. Then the souls that I resonate with that are the same frequency, and here's another physics experiment, like the 2-prong experiment. If you have one prong at 400 hertz and one prong at 500 hertz, when the 500 hertz moves, the 400 hertz doesn't move, doesn't notice it, doesn't perceive it, does not resonate with it. Like if this is love and this is fear, love's moving over here, fear doesn't notice. I'm just, for example. So now let's say that you project your, heart onto the field and you have a part of you that's selfish. Okay. So you're out in your day and then someone acts selfish, and that's 400 hertz. When you also move at 400 hertz, then you start moving because it resonates and you move at the same frequency. So when energy interacts with energy at the same frequency, they move together and they connect. That's why our energy attracts in what's familiar to show us ourselves, whether it's a wound like selfishness. So when I see selfishness in someone else, my soul is actually showing me the selfishness inside of me. So earlier you said you felt judged by other people. That's really
Right.
your soul showing you your own personal judgment.
Like I judge people, is what you're saying?
And then you judge, yes, and then that's you projecting your heart, and yes. And then when you stop judging yourself, you will stop judging other people because our external reality, like I just said, is a reflection of our internal reality. And this is how the universe is a mirror. So women especially have more mirror neurons than men. And that's because we mirror emotions to the children. But we have these mirror neurons physiologically to support this process of seeing ourselves. We're all souls having a human experience, and we come here to see ourselves. So our souls plan our lives based on the laws of physics, which I have one more experiment to show. They're the metrodome, right? And and our wounds. Why wounds? Because that gives us opportunities to improve. Like, I have eradicated the I'm replaceable wound out of my soul. When did I do it? I was 53 and not 14.
Right.
Okay, like that's how long it took me.
Right.
Just being honest, my life was crazy. But this is the last experiment I want to bring into it. So our souls plan our lives based upon our wounds or our valleys of darkness. Okay. So this is the two ball experiment. There's two identical balls on two tracks, and one track is slightly downhill, and one track has hills and valleys. So the distance traveled is technically longer. Which ball reaches the finish line first?
The one that's going downhill. Oh yeah, I got this wrong the last time you asked me.
That's okay. Most people get it wrong because we want life to be, oh, life is easy. Life is
I got a C in science. I don't know. I got a better
That's
grade than
okay.
that.
Most people, they dream of this easy life, like people who dream of socialism. This is the dream that life is like this, or communism.
Right.
Oh, it's just everything's just gonna be taken care of and everybody's fine.
Right.
There's no war and everybody's great and there's no fascism and there's no dictator and everybody's fine. It's a dream. It's an
Right.
ideology. It's not reality.
Not
Okay.
reality for sure.
We're here to improve, right? So the hills and valleys. So you need the momentum, propulsion, inertia gained from going downhill is what propels you to the next mountaintop. Like if you want to get to the top of Mount Everest, and I'll equate that with enlightenment, what kind of valley of darkness do you have to go through to prepare for that ascent? Expand your lung capacity, super good shape, perfect diet. I mean, that's years
And
and
mental.
years
There's a
and
lot of
years,
mental input too. You gotta
and mental
Right.
challenge and emotional and physical. I mean, you got to like tear yourself apart and become a whole new
And then you might not
person.
even make it. Like,
And you might have a 25% chance of dying, right?
right.
So, I don't think with enlightenment you got 20%, 25% chance of dying. So that way it's not equate, but you kind of get the analogy. Like if you want that view, if you want to see the world from I've experienced enlightenment, get ready to work because the to get to the Mount Everest of emotions, you got to take on an equal amount of wounds. So what happened to me? I had that traumatic childhood, right? I got a master's degree in East Asian religious studies. I lived in China, in Tibet. I met my ex-husband in Tibet. He's from Israel. Okay. So,
Uh-huh.
he served in the military in Israel during the first intifada in the late 80s, early 90s. He had to decide, oh, do I shoot the 5-year-old Palestinian kid who's
Yes.
throwing a huge rock at me and could kill me? Do I save my 18-year-old self or do I potentially kill a 5-year-old child? That's the decisions of Israeli Defense
That's
Force
terrible.
soldier. It's,
And they all have to go, they all have to be in the military, right? They all have
yeah,
to have even the women, everybody has to
yeah,
serve. Yeah,
yeah,
that's insane. I mean,
gnarly,
yeah, it's
gnarly.
intense type of thing that you have to go through. But I mean, I always believe whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger too.
Yeah.
Like you are the person you are because of all the things you went through in your life.
And this is the thing, taking on deep wounds, is more challenging than a less, the more challenge you have, the more difficult a life you have. So a lot of people look down at the addict, like, right?
Right.
The addict soul is a badass, ambitious soul who started out with a severely deep valley of darkness because the mountaintop they plan to climb is friggin' high. So this is where, we project ourselves on other people. Like we, judge other people all the time. This is a common thing. But when we judge other people and think that it's real, that it's not just our heart projecting our own heart onto them and then us trying to hold them accountable to our heart. Like, do you see what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it's not recognizing that the universe is a mirror and that we have mirror neurons for a reason.
I mean, everybody's journey is different and it
Yeah,
all starts at a different place. And
yeah.
some people self-medicate because they feel differently. And so how does shamanism and like the psychology align in a way?
Okay, great. That's a great question. Okay, so that's like, so the laws of physics are in the book, and I use that as like to ground me every day. Like, I can't get away from the hills and valleys, Carrie. The hills and valleys are necessary. I'm like, the hills and valleys, you know. So, but psychology and shamanism. This is my youngest daughter actually challenged me on this front, and I use a lot of Carl Jung quotes in the book. I'm like, because I kind of had a question. Well, how does shamanism and psychology align? And here's one way that they do. So psychology talks about codependencies. When we reject a part of ourselves, we give it to the other person. And that's where we have the codependency, is that we're just giving away parts of ourselves. We're not loving ourselves, and we're hating parts of ourselves. And then when we love that part of ourselves again, and it comes back to us. So in shamanism, they have rejected parts of self and recalled parts of self. So when we reject parts of ourselves, we give away parts of ourselves. Then when we recall it, we bring it back. So it's the same thing,
I give away
rejecting
all the bad
ourselves and
parts.
recalling ourselves. What?
I want to give away all the bad parts.
Well, this is the thing, there's no bad parts. This
Yeah.
is what I had to learn is that inside my emotional wounds was my personal wisdom. So so what happened was,
So you're
um
going to tell me how these wounds can unlock our self
yeah, yeah,
empowerment,
yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
good.
So, but and then Carl Jung is just the master, but his whole family was super psychic. So I just love me some Carl Jung. And I didn't know that until like after I put him in the book. But so what happened was, so I got married to an Israeli man. I had 3 kids. I was married for 10 years and it was, a challenging marriage. He had been from Israel and, and I didn't know how to draw boundaries and he didn't know how to have boundaries. So then we perfectly triggered each other. Like this is where we attract people into our lives to see ourselves as a mirror, and who's our best mirror is our opposite. So women,
Yeah,
that's
for
men, and
sure. My
men, that's
husband's my
women.
opposite. Like I'm outgoing. He's funny and outgoing, but he is quiet and reserved, and I am all over the place.
Yeah. But that's the feminine. That's what's supposed to be, And if a man's chit-chatting all the time, how can he provide and protect? I'm not saying man
Right.
shouldn't talk, but they have a different they perceive different aspects of life than women do. And at that balance is when we do really well. We're not here to fight. We're here to, work together and raise
Right.
families and
Like
grow
he
and
didn't like
learn.
my husband doesn't like to cook and clean and do all those things, but I don't
No.
like to take out the trash and
Right.
fix things and mow the lawn and take care of crap outside. So it's
Right.
like the yin and yang it totally works. Like,
Yay.
yeah, for sure.
Yay for you. I'm so happy because so many people are arguing about that. And they don't realize that when he does that, that balances his hormones, but it doesn't balance yours. And if
Right.
he were to clean the house, that would not balance his hormones, but it balances yours.
It almost feels foreign if he says, I'll help. Like, what do you want me to help with? Like if
Yeah.
we're getting ready for guests and I'm like overwhelmed with like house chores,
Mm,
he asks and I'm thinking like, oh my God, what do I make him do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell him. Like, I don't
mm,
know how to help him like clean something because he
yeah.
doesn't do it. And I just feel like, no, you just go out and hose down the backyard,
But I'm so happy for you that you guys have a balance that works and your hormones are getting balanced. Like you guys
Yeah.
have had a long marriage. It works for a reason. So like well done. Because a lot of people are just fighting themselves. Well, why can't
Yeah.
he do it? And why can't and why can't and
It's
why
like give in a little
you know?
bit. That's the whole thing. Okay. So I always say marriage is about compromise because
Yes.
I see a lot of women out there that I'm not settling and I'm not
Right.
this. I'm like, dude, how are you now? Where are you now? You're like old and not married because you were looking for this perfect thing and it's not out there. It's a compromise. It is, you have to not settle, but you have to compromise. And we do a lot of compromise. My husband thinks I'm
Well
crazy
done.
sometimes and I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm
Mm,
constantly thinking of ways to create things. Not
mhm,
necessarily does anything I create make money, but
mm,
I'm creating things. And he's like, you and your hobbies. Like
yeah.
he doesn't want to, you know, uh, financially put the money out for it, but he will if he feels like that's what I need to
Yes.
let out my creative juices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I totally got off on another tangent, but keep
That's fine.
going.
I love it.
You
No,
got
it's
me
really
going.
great.
I'm really
That's
involved.
so
I really love what you're saying. So keep me
okay.
going. So
All right, okay. So I got married and then I started having kids when I was 28. And then when my second child was born, I went right back to work in January when she was 3 months old because we had some financial challenges. But what was really happening is one of my wounds. I did not value my ability to create life, my femininity, to create human life, and also how femininity fuels masculinity. Like women drops the handkerchief. Okay, man's action, man decides. That's how femininity fuels masculinity. And if your whole a woman submits, man decides is the best way I can summarize a healthy relationship. Honey,
right.
I'm cold. Okay, okay, let's go inside. Honey, I'm pregnant. Oh, I guess we need a bigger house. Honey, I got, you know what I'm saying? It's like the woman's emotions, the woman gives the man purpose. And so as women, when we take
Because
away their
they like to solve problems. They like to fix things. Okay, so let me just say
yeah,
one thing before I get you off
yeah, yeah.
topic again.
Okay.
One time when we were first dating, me and my husband,
Mm,
I had a crappy car, and I'm like, oh, I got to get this car lubed and oiled or whatever. And he's like, well, what do you mean going to get it lubed and oiled? I'll do it. And I go, you're not that handy. You can't. Oh my God, I never lived that. You're not so handy down. Every time he would do something, he goes, that's not so bad for somebody that's not so handy. Like he'd always like throw it back in my face.
I
And
love it.
damn it, this guy can rebuild engines.
Oh,
He knows how to, I mean, change your brakes on your car, can change your tires around. I mean, when it comes to a vehicle, he really knows his shit. He can rewire things in the house, and he can put up fans. He can do all kinds of stuff around the house. He does
Love
plumbing.
it.
He does
Yeah,
everything. I mean, this guy is the most handiest freaking dude I've ever met. And he's a physical therapist. Like, he works in a hospital. And he
I
can
love
just, if
it.
he had to be a handyman for his trade, he'd be able to do it. Let me just say.
Yeah,
I digress only because I wanted to say that, like, yes, the men want to solve problems. They want to be doers. And those
right.
that, don't have the ability or never were taught to be doers like that,
Yeah,
they struggle. Like my son, he
yeah,
struggled. And
yeah,
so he's like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know I go, YouTube it, man. Like, learn on your own. This is how, and then just apply. You have to just
yeah,
apply what you learn. But I'm saying that most men like to be problem solvers. And so if the
yeah.
women gives them a problem, they want to be able to be the master of, like, fixing it for you. So
That's, and this is also where my wisdom came through. In the fall, so last March, a year ago March, I experienced enlightenment for the first time. And then in the fall, I experienced it about 10 more times because that was Jared. Like, the guy in March, so the men that came through my life to mirror my wounds back to me so I could say, "Oh, I need to fix that. Oh, and that was me. Oh, shoot, that was me too." Um, you know, chess champion, then Justin Waller and his best friend Andrew Tate, and yes, I mean Andrew Tate. And I came into Justin's life 2 months before Andrew's takedown started in August of 2022. And then right after that at yoga. So the first guy, chess champion, then 2 fire academy instructors. I met them all at yoga. So right after Justin, at the same time, I was kind of, eyeing this younger fire engineer who also teaches urban sister rescue. Looks like Superman. Kid you not. Okay. I never went on a date, so I can't tell dating stories, but he looked pretty good at hot yoga, I'll just say. And so so I started talking to him. And then in the fall of 2023, I met another fire academy instructor, the fire captain, I call him, Jim in the book. And the first firefighter, Pat in the book, told the second firefighter to go to that yoga studio.
that's
But,
crazy.
not because of me or anything.
Six
But,
degrees of separation. It's a thing, dude. It's for real. Like, legit.
it's a thing. So, and they all of them have multiple women. All of them are having sex with a yoga instructor or more. And so, but in the fire captain, he's married and he was a 1, okay, in terms of difficulty. But I only knew he was a 1 until I got to Jared because Jared's a 10.
Okay.
I have a very anxious, I mean, I'm healing. I'm, healed from a very anxious attachment style. What's the
Yeah.
natural trigger for that is a very avoidant attachment style. And so
Okay.
avoidant men, they avoid their heart. And so avoidant men typically have multiple women. Like, that's where you're going to also get the sex addiction. It could come out as, in porn with actually having sex or other obsessions. But all these men, multiple women, it was, they had their challenges. So yeah, it was like a 10, but some of the wisdom that came out. So I'm facing my wounds. What happens when I download wisdom and when I experience enlightenment, like profound wisdom, and then I face my fears, my catastrophic fears, and that's how I turn my emotional wounds into wisdom. And the more wisdom I download, the higher I vibrate. And then I bring everybody up with me and I help them release their wounds. Because if everybody's vibrating up at love, they're letting go of the shame, the guilt, and the fear and everything like I did. Um, okay, so where was
So
I?
did you use anything to help you reach enlightenment? I mean,
Let me just get so the wisdom that I received showed me how masculine and feminine souls are created and why men are the problem solvers. I'm telling you, like, there's a reason for all of it, okay? So um, I asked the universe, okay, so how are feminine and masculine souls created? So they explained, first, we were all just a soul, and we're all connected. Then we wanted to experience ourselves. Well, the only way to experience yourself is to have a mirror to know what you're not. Like, you only know what tall is when you know what short is. You only know what
right.
a woman is when a man is. You only know what beautiful is when you know what ugly is. The dual nature of reality, right? So then we had to split into 2 if we want to, keep expanding and now experience ourselves. So that's when we split. And this is what happens. So the intent to create the masculine soul creates the feminine soul. Then the feminine soul tears out half of her heart chakra to create the masculine soul. So the feminine soul is source energy. That's why women are so intuitive. We're so emotional because source energy, soul's energy. We communicate through our emotions, right? This all, I'm
Right.
like, okay, this really makes sense, right? This really makes sense. And then men are once removed from source, which means they take on more risk, which means they're not in their emotions all the time, which means they can plan and strategize and, compete and build and do all these things because they're not in their emotions all day long. So
Right.
women need to understand this, that men aren't emotional like women. They don't experience of course they have emotions, but they don't experience them like women. There's a reason men are designed to provide and protect, because women are the emotional center and men leave the house and come back because they can be in hormonal balance, plan, strategize, provide, protect. Where when women get into protecting and providing roles, it takes us out of hormonal balance. Like when women make more than men in a marriage, 90% of them get divorced
Yeah. I'm
because
glad
she's
that's not the case
so
in
far out of
my
alignment. Wait, what?
situation. I said I'm glad that's not the case in my situation.
Yeah, I'm glad. Well, it sounds like you guys got a great, balance, the
Yin and
feminine,
yang,
the
I still
masculine.
struggle. Can I ask you a question?
Yay.
I actually want to. I want to ask a question for my
Yeah.
listeners. I'm sure
Yeah. Yeah.
this is something they're thinking of. So, what encouragement for listeners who feel stuck in their pain? How can they begin to heal? How could someone like you help them
Mm,
turn their trauma, into self wisdom, or you know,
personal wisdom.
or
Yeah.
start to heal?
The insight. It's a
Yeah.
great question. So first you have to accept that you have emotional pain and that your problems are 100% because of your emotional pain. Our souls plan our lives based on our wounds. I attracted men into my life who are similar, all affluent, all super successful, all multiple women, because that they naturally trigger my wounds to the surface. So accept that you have wounds and that you need to establish a practice to process those wounds. And I'm going to get to the medicine journeys, which I'll, tie into this question. It's a great question. And in
Okay.
the book, I share my journey in the book, but I also share how I came up with my healing processes. And I just kind of wrote down like, oh, this is what I'm doing. Oh, this works. Oh, this doesn't work. So the first thing is appreciate, learn, forgive. Appreciate your challenges in life.
Right.
That's how you work through your wounds. Like that's how you open your heart and surrender to your pain. You turn your wound into wisdom. Like I had a wound, I feared all men. When I turned it into wisdom at 51 years old, I'm like, oh, men, protect me. In general, there's some fearful ones. I went out the next day and my anxiety was like 100% better because I don't fear half the population. And my daughter noticed instantly. That's how quickly it will happen once you make that energetic shift. Once you turn the wound into wisdom, but you got to take practice. Like it's like learning to surf the waves of life. You learn to surf on a small wave, and then you go up a little, and then you get a little bigger, and then you don't start on the 70-foot wave off of Portugal. No, you start on a longboard and a little 1-footers, right? And then you get bigger and bigger and bigger. So first, appreciate that you have a challenge because the appreciation, the gratitude is the heart opener, and that helps you surrender to your pain. And when
You're
you're in
saying,
fight or flight, hang on a second, sweetheart. When you're in fight or flight, you can't surrender. So the
but what
gratitude is really
happens if
important.
you're disconnected from you're just disconnected, or you have hopelessness? You just feel so
You got to
hopeless.
start somewhere. You got to
Yeah.
start. So a gratitude practice, is great. First admit that you have pain, right? Then start a gratitude practice. You can walk barefoot in nature. Be grateful for nature. One day you can look up a gratitude practice on the internet and go, I'm grateful for my house. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for my pretty hair. I'm grateful for my green eyes. I'm grateful for my family. And I'm not
Right.
saying that's easy, but that's where the work is. Because if our souls plan our lives for our benefit, even though it's hard, even though it's painful, it's for our benefit. And that is where the gratitude comes in. But that is to go gratitude head to toe on your life has taken me 10 years.
Well, what happens if you don't want to, you don't believe in therapy, or I'm not saying I don't, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
that, like, let's say you just don't believe in therapy and you just don't think that's your direction you want to go. Could somebody reach out, and how do they connect with a shaman or somebody like you that can teach
Mm.
them
Yeah.
how to fix
Well, let me
themselves?
just, yeah, I mean, you could reach out to me. I'm at kerryblaser.com. And I'm on Instagram at Kerry Blaser Official. But
And that's
the
Blazer with an S, people. I
with
almost
an
got it
S.
wrong.
Yeah, Kerry with a K, KerryBlaser.com. But appreciate, learn, forgive. Then learn your lessons through self-reflection. What self-reflection does, it corrals you in your emotions. It acknowledges that, okay, I'm the problem here. And then it helps me, forgive everyone involved. Um, that Appreciate, Learn, Forgive is in the book. Love Hierarchy is in the book. I have a lot of great techniques, a lot of great wisdom and psychology in the book. But you can also reach out to me on my website or on Instagram. I just started coaching, so reach out
So
that way.
you,
But
so
another option,
you have a book, and your book is called, say it again.
My Inner Heroine: Exploring Feminine Pain.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to put that on my website with your information so people can find you,
Yeah.
and then they can get your book. Also, I'll put it on my social posts too. I'm going to start doing that, where I can maybe put the name of your book and where you can find it. Where can they find your book? Amazon?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, any online realtor. Yeah.
Same,
Yeah.
same with my book too.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that people know that, like, there are alternative ways to start to heal when you've had trauma in your life. And there's ways, if you feel disconnected or hopeless, there are ways to do it other than like the traditional. You still can go to your priest or your pastor and still be able to get guidance. But then when you're at home and you're sitting, watching your kids play, or you're in the backyard at the pool, would be beneficial to get her book and just read something that might be out of the norm for you. And you know what? I'm sure there'll be some enlightenment just in the pages that Kerry has written, because obviously a lot of what you say, and I'm just going to say this over my
Yeah,
head,
it's hard.
but I did follow along a little bit. And so we could probably talk for an hours on this, because this it is such an important topic, but it's also like there's just so much to it, and
There
there's a lot of
is.
science involved too. Correct? There is.
Yeah, a
It's
lot of
science. A
science.
lot of science involved,
Mhm.
and so I want to leave it there. I
Okay.
want people to be able to come find you. I will, on my social post, put your book title and where to find it. And then also on my website, when it finally gets put up. I mean, I'm hoping by the time this episode airs, if I don't have my website done, I'm putting this in the atmosphere. I'm going to fire the man who is doing my website. I am going to
Okay.
fire him and
Okay.
ask for a refund. I'm just putting it
Okay.
out there in the universe.
All right.
So I will have it on my website, and it'll be out there for eternity. And I appreciate you so much for coming
Thank
and
you.
being a part of the show. And I think that maybe after 100 episodes, you should come back and we'll revisit and see if we've learned from what you've taught us
Yeah.
today.
Well, I could come back and we could do a session, and then I could show people
Oh, that's
live
right.
with
Yes,
you.
let's do a session. You can heal me,
Yeah,
because
I can
I
do
obviously
drumming.
I am judging, and I am all like, I'm
We
all the
all
things. I'm
we
all the
all
things.
need it. We all need it. You're never fully healed, because you'll only be fully healed when you've expressed your whole soul through your heart, and we're at like 1%.
Yeah,
So
this
no
is true.
one's
You know what?
healed.
I have a lot of family trauma. I have a lot of childhood trauma, and it's in my book. You can go find my book as well, Bucket List from a Redneck Girl. It's all in there, all my little stories. There's a whole bunch of stories, and they're all dramatic. Oh my gosh. Somebody told me, she was like, talk about like what doesn't kill you make you stronger. She's like,
Yeah.
dang girl, you've been through it all. Anyways,
Yeah.
I do appreciate you coming out and being on the show. And I know people will resonate with this, and go get her book. It is called, say it again.
Oh, My Inner Heroine: Exploring Feminine Pain.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Gather around when the sun dips low, talking about the days we used to know. VCR tapes and dial-up tones, raising kids living with achy bones. Leather jackets and big hair days, now it's carpool lines and PTA. Neon dreams turn into schoolyard fights, but our hearts glow in retro nights. We are Gen X, living both worlds. From cassette tapes to a digital world. Parenting now with a nod to the past. The retro love we know will last. to slice, telling tales with a side of advice, laughing at the way it used to be while raising kids.